Things you thought you knew. And
Wait,
probably forgot.
we're live?
We're live. What's up?
Not much. What you doing?
Man, in honor of Cianfrocco probably not joining us tonight, I have decided to play the role of Cianfrocco. And everybody's a Jimmo. Yep.
Oh, this is going to be good.
I even got my drink. You know what I'm saying?
Got your glasses, got the shades, got the drink.
I'm ready to Cianfrocco up.
Where's the hamster and the stuffed unicorn? That's what I want to know.
Well, I'm 50% Michael Cianfrocco.
You couldn't find a gerbil in short notice or what?
Come on, man. Come on.
He's probably watching right now going, those bastards. Those bastards.
Yep.
What's up, everybody?
So, let's do introductions.
Oh, right. Forgot about that.
All right. So, we're about to break into a new year. A new year, a new us, a new show. Well, maybe not a new show.
No, we ain't that ambitious.
maybe a new intro video though, huh?
That could be
snazzy.
It could be interesting.
We're probably due for that.
I think we are. I think we look a little young on that intro video. People probably look at that intro video and they're like, "What happened to those guys, man? They got old."
Yeah, worn out, man. Worn out. That's what's up. It's all that drinking.
Got my water right here, baby.
Yeah. So I'm trying something different. So me and my wife were at Sam's earlier, and right when you walk in, there's always the items. They're like, buy now, and I was like, all right.
So whatever this is that you got either a case of it or it came in a 5-gallon jug, is what I'm guessing, because you got it from
a very large bottle of sangria.
So that's like a half a gallon. It looks like
it's big, and I have never had sangria.
Ooh,
I'm a beer drinker. That's my thing. It's my calling, right? Not much hard liquor, every once in a blue moon. But so sangria, this is a new one for me. And I'm about 2 glasses in, so we're gonna see how this goes.
What do you think?
Waiting on my wife to get back. She went to go spend all of our savings on fireworks.
Man, the neighbors around me have already started. So if anybody hears any big booms behind me,
it's booming around me, man. It's booming.
I can't do nothing about it.
Nope.
It's like a war zone out there already.
All I can do is take my basset hound, lock her in my closet, and shut the doors, because that's about the only way I'm gonna keep her out of my bed during all this.
The dogs, oh my gosh, our dog's already going crazy.
Yep. But all right, man. So for anybody who's never joined the show, this is the HVAC Grapevine Show, and tonight we're going to talk about what we learned and probably forgot.
Hey, there's like 8 people that have joined the show tonight, so welcome everybody.
Yeah, I wonder what they're drinking. If you have joined the show and it's New Year's, let us know what you're drinking on.
That's right. Curious. That's right. Tell us what you're drinking.
Yep. Eric, what do you think your biggest thing is that you've learned this year that you were just like, whoa, like I didn't know, I didn't even know that was even possible, or, what's your shell shocker moment of the year?
Man, I don't know if I really had a shell shocker moment.
Come on, man, dig deep.
I don't know. I'm looking back, like, I'm thinking back, and it was like,
take your time. We got all the time in the world.
And I got all the time in the world, and everybody wants
to drink sangria.
Like, hang on, I'm gonna have to go get the smoke or the fire extinguisher to put the smoke out here in a minute. But
Yeah.
man, I'm drawing a blank on that. That's a good question.
Gotcha. All right, I'll take one.
I have to think about it. Yeah. What's yours?
I think someone I would like to put back on the show again and get more advanced knowledge on this topic, because I find it fascinating, is when we had Jennifer on and we were talking about AI and the capabilities of AI. And she mentioned that she uses AI a lot in her day, even her daily business. And I, since then, have downloaded a program that I use with Discord, and I'll generate pictures that I used for work and stuff like that. And it's became pretty handy. I've even used ChatGPT 4 to, like, if I'm trying to get a title to something, I'll kind of throw some information out there, let it generate a couple titles, see if there's something I like, just to get the ball rolling. Just to get in our roles, we constantly have to like build content, like constantly building content, right? And you're brainstorming and you're like, how do I put a good twist on this? How to make it sound good? How to make it interesting? And sometimes it just pulls the right words out that I don't have. Or sometimes I want to see a picture of something and I know what I want and I just can't create it, right? Like I can't do it in PowerPoint. I can't do it in Illustrator because I just don't have the skill set to go all the way with it yet. But I can start getting it done with an AI program. I look for my knowledge to grow in that arena. That's what I'd like to do in 2024.
Nice.
So that was my big, like I need to start learning that side of the world.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot. It's a big side of the world, especially for us now in any business that is developing software and products and things like that. So my wife threw one up in there. Oh man. Yeah. We got to get Brett back on here.
Yep.
We got to get him back on here. So Rachel threw this up in there. This was a big one for me this year.
Compounding error.
Right. And you got to see some of this down in Alabama when we were down at the Alabama Council of Refrigeration Educators Conference, the ACARE conference.
Hold on. Time out. You probably have this slide on your computer. Am I right?
I might somewhere.
If you got it, you should share it and just give everybody a taste of that presentation. I know the one you're talking about when we were down in Alabama for that ACARE event.
Yeah.
If you've got that slide, you should give the audience a rundown. It was beautiful, man.
I might have that somewhere. Now you're going to make me go searching. Man,
that would be just like, that would be a great addition to the show going into the new year.
Yeah,
and man, what a move that would be.
Now I got to go searching. So just to give a quick, if I can't find this presentation, because who knows?
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
I'll carry the show till you find it. You freaking Jamoke. Come on now. Go find it.
Jamoke. I love it.
So, I'm looking through thumbnails that we threw out this year. All right. So if you're in the chat with us, let me ask the chat members.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So that where we're talking about, compounding error, right? It's two things. Which slide are you talking about? Because I found my slideshow here.
I would say the one that you did that shows the error of margin that's capable. You know what I'm talking about? I don't want to give it away, but you know what I'm saying? The bar slide.
All right.
You should talk out the bar slide.
Okay, so we'll start on one and I'll go to the next one. But go ahead. I got it ready here. So, whenever
take it away, baby. Take it away.
Geez, you're going to make me jump into this right now, aren't you?
Hell yeah. It was dynamite.
All right.
This was probably some of the best of Eric Kaiser I've ever seen.
Oh, and it's going to get deeper this year. It's going to get deeper because I've dug deeper into this subject on a couple of things. So we're going to have some more fun this year for sure. Let me get a window open here.
Are we going to see that at the symposium?
We're going to see some of this at the symposium. Yeah.
What's up, you Jamoke?
What's going on, Jamokes?
Wait a minute.
You made it.
I am surrounded. I'm
Happy
surrounded
New
by
Year.
Jamokes. Happy New Year.
The left to me, the right to me. Yep.
Hey.
Above me,
Hey.
below me.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
At my buddy's house, got a little crazy. Sorry I'm late.
Totally understandable.
Happy
Think-
New Year to
think
all the
nothing
Jamokes
of
out
it.
there. Oh, man. Let me get my camera ready here.
Didn't know if you were gonna make it. We didn't know if you were gonna make it.
Sorry. Whew. I heard Johnny Supertech might be on. I was like, oh, my God.
Bro,
I told
bro.
everybody at the party, I was like, I got to go.
Called him. Dude, super busy again.
I think Johnny's
Super
busy
busy.
working tonight.
Dude,
He's in it.
his service van is like a freaking spaceship,
It is. It's a big ass spaceship.
Yeah,
I bet you he carries no turbo caps. I guarantee you he carries every size cap in a
Yeah,
big ass
what-
box.
He told me he's got 2.5 microfarad caps, this guy.
Yep.
Man.
Special
I
made.
think he carries special adapters so he can, connect them in series or parallel, whatever he wants to do. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he's the cream of the crop. I mean, what are you going
Dude,
to do?
yep. He probably spends his downtime making jumpers. That'd be my guess. If he has any downtime.
I'll bet you know what? I'll bet he makes all of his fingernails into copper flares with
Yeah.
he flares the tips of his fingers to be able to plug up pipes for leak testing.
Yeah.
I go,
Dude's a
Johnny
gift.
Supertech, man. I was like, what do you think?
Man,
What do you think about? What do you think about building science? He's like,
I think
like,
he's
man, I'm
gonna
creative.
I think we're gonna have to get him on here beginning of the new year, guys. Whatever it costs us, guys. I mean, whatever we got to pay him, we just got to pay him. We got to get him on. We got to get him back on the show.
We almost went broke the last time he came
I know.
on here.
Well, you
We
can't
gotta
think
do
of
it.
You can't think of it as an expense. It's an investment. you
That's
know
right,
what I mean?
dude. You're 100%. I don't want to be a jamoke. You know what I'm saying?
Don't be
I
like
need that
these other
knowledge.
guys slinging YouTube channels, working on small budgets, We got
All right.
we bring top-notch quality type of
That's right.
content to our people, man, and the great fun.
That's right. All right. So Eric is gonna break us into the new year, and here's what I'm gonna say. There is always conversation in the chat box about old tools, new tools. Here's some new tools. I don't need those freaking new tools. This will be the next latest and greatest new tool. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
Watch what Eric's about to tell you, and if it don't click, man, I'm sorry for you. That's all I can say.
So
Take it away, Eric. Take it away.
Thanks, Chris. I mean, and this was something that I kind of always knew in the back of my head, but like I had never really put it to paper. I'd never really done the full calculations, and I laid this out. And this is all about like compounding errors. So we know that if we have an error on a gauge or a meter or something like that, right? And it reads a certain reading, the actual reading is somewhere within a certain percentage of that, right? Or the reading that we're getting is within a certain percentage of the actual reading, depending on how the specs are written. Okay.
So you were saying something about that with the field piece probes versus the testo probes, right?
Well, I mean, any piece of equipment out there has an accuracy rating on it. All right.
Right.
Now, a lot of
Right.
times they are written in ways, and I'm working on some different ways to like simplify the understanding of them a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm going to dig into that a little bit.
Nothing crazy like plus or minus 70%, right? Not
Well, no, nothing that bad.
Nothing that.
You had to go there, didn't you? You just had to.
I was just I'm asking questions. I'm a student.
Had to do it. So in the example I've got up there on the screen, right? It's all about we're talking about compounding errors in a subcooling calculation where we are using two different meters or two different devices to get readings, right? And then we combine those two readings to get a value. So subcooling is not actually a measurement. Subcooling is a calculation from two measurements.
Can't argue with that.
Makes sense, right? When I thought about it, I was like, okay, right. So it's not a direct measurement, it's a calculation. Okay. But then we have to combine the potential inaccuracies of both of the devices to figure out what our potential deviation is.
Right.
So because both devices have inaccuracies, they compound and they add upon each other.
Right. Just
Right.
like my old analog gauges, when
Well-
I got over 200 psi, it was a deviation was worse. It was really weird.
Well, this is, and we're going to talk about that a little bit in here. All right. So there's different accuracy ranges for different gauges.
Yeah.
In this example, an analog pressure gauge, normal analog pressure gauges are a 323. So they're a 3% of full scale in the first either quarter or the first third, depending on how they're rated. And in the middle of that range, they're 2% accuracy of full scale. And in the high side, they're again upper quarter or upper third, depending on how it's rated. They're a 3% full scale accuracy. Right. So the sweet spot is in the middle of an analog gauge, in the middle third or the middle half.
That's what I'm saying.
Middle 50%.
So what you're saying is we can't trust it when it tells me I got a good vacuum.
You can trust it less. And none of them read good. Right. And so then a lot of times we'd use a K-type thermocouple. Now a K-type thermocouple, I don't have one sitting here in front of me, is it's a thermocouple. It's got the little yellow plug on it with the two little blades that plug into a meter, or like a standalone thermocouple gauge, or any number of things. That's a pretty standard device in the industry.
Right.
And so that has an inaccuracy rating. So like this one I just pulled up from 1 meter, it's plus or minus 3% of the reading, or 0.3%. I'm sorry, 0.3% of the reading plus 2 degrees Fahrenheit.
Even if you got it in nice at 32 degrees and you calibrate it.
Yes.
Shit.
That's its accuracy. That's its accuracy range.
Ships. That's what
This is part of calibration, but there's still inaccuracies when you use them elsewhere in the field. Okay. It doesn't say that it is inaccurate every time. It could be dead on accurate, but that inaccuracy can exist and is allowable on that piece of equipment.
Okay.
If it's within manufacturer specifications.
I feel like you're prepping me for like you're gonna make your own tools.
Right. So if we look at, I'm not making anything here. I'm just saying this is the reality of tools that we use every day.
Guys, tools are coming out.
Okay.
I feel like he's making his own tools here soon.
So if we look at that analog pressure gauge, and we're looking at an 800 PSI gauge or a high side gauge that we would calculate subcooling on, okay, in the middle range of that at plus or minus 2% of full scale, that's plus or minus 16 PSI.
Sorry, guys.
Right. Or if you're in the upper or lower quadrant of that, the upper third or upper lower third or quarter, depending on how it's rated, it could be plus or minus 24 PSI. Right. So that range gets wider, the PSI gets wider. Now, when I dig into that math a little bit more, and there's a lot of writing on this slide. I don't like a lot of writing. It'll simplify it on the next slide, but I like to show the math here to show exactly what's happening. Okay, because it is important in this case. So if we take a 410A system at 365 PSI G, which is 109.8 saturation temp, all right, liquid line temp is 100 degrees Fahrenheit, calculated subcooling is 10. The saturation temperature can be plus or minus 16 PSI, which then changes our saturation temperature conversion on the saturation on our PT chart, right? So now that saturation temperature could potentially change up to plus or minus 3.2 degrees Fahrenheit, or 106.6 to 113 degrees. That's now my saturation temperature range.
Boom.
So then I have to look at the temperature measurement deviation because I'm taking a temperature measurement of the same thing, plus or minus 2.3 degrees, because I'm right at 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And remember, that was 0.3 plus 2 inaccuracy. So plus or minus 2.3 degrees,
Yep.
97.7 to 102.3. So my subcooling value at 9.8 degrees Fahrenheit has a plus or minus 5.5 degree Fahrenheit range when I combine those two together, right? And this is
how long are you letting the system run on your sub?
doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Well,
matter.
no. Separate question.
It doesn't.
I usually
This
do
ha-
12 minutes.
This has nothing to do with how long the system is running. This has everything to do with acceptable inaccuracies in the equipment if they're brand new off the shelf.
Gotcha.
Based on
Just a little
temperature
side
and
note.
basically the inaccuracy based on what we
Has-
measure temperature and pressure with.
Has absolutely nothing to do with how long the system is running. But I mean, that's a great question. But just the fact is that it doesn't, because we're still taking those measurements. If I let it run for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour, right? I'm still taking that measurement at a certain point in time, or both of those measurements at a certain point in time, and making that calculation.
Right.
And I have those potential inaccuracies.
Right.
So if we look at that, right, here's how that looks. I can deviate on my saturation temperature 3.2 degrees. There's my center point or my actual reading, but I can have plus or minus that 2.3. Okay. And then this is my differential, my potential maximum differential.
Okay.
And again, brand new out of the box, acceptable deviation. This isn't having been bounced around in a truck,
Right.
anything else like that. And yeah, hi, John. Good to see you on here.
Yeah.
And long time no talk to, man. And yeah, there's still a lot of people out there using analog gauges. I hate to say it, but they are.
Yep.
A lot of dudes.
Well, I think
there's a lot.
everybody probably keeps a set for pulling vacuums. You know what I'm saying? Like, or if you're gonna go to a system, let's say the water bundle's busted and you want to blow it out, you're not gonna use your good stuff for that. Use your crappy stuff.
I
mean,
use
there's
one
a
hose, man.
there's a
Who's-
need
who's gonna-
for it somewhere.
Who's going to do that? Who's doing that to a set of gauges? Why do you even have gauges?
I don't know. I'm just saying you're pushing and pulling. There's all I'm saying is there's times for it, man. There's times for it.
Screw that.
This
Don't
is
get
not
your
the
hose.
time
Throw
for
them
it.
gauges. Throw them gauges out.
All you need is a hose. Why would you
A
hook up a
hose?
set of gauges?
I'm
just
just saying.
saying.
Ball valve. That's it.
I'm just saying maybe you're throttling the pressure with the hand or whatever. You know, you're used to it. All I'm saying is there's times they get put to use. They're not worth throwing away. That's all I'm saying.
Chuck 'em. I
Hang-
got them in the
hang 'em up.
office.
Hang them up in a museum. All right.
They're sitting next to Ed in the office.
All right, I'll tell you why.
So
So
there's your total range between those two. All right. 15.3 degrees between those 2 points.
15 degrees.
Okay. So you have a 15-degree total range.
yeah,
Okay.
Golly.
15.3 plus or minus.
Don't make me get my gauges out tonight and do another subcool check
Okay.
right before
So-
the ball drops.
That was probably one of my biggest
Dude, that's
Yeah.
moments
huge.
this
which
year
and
of realizing that.
So you're saying your if I recaptured one of them slides, your deviation could be what was your saturation temperature deviation possible to what was the range of
Plus or
deviation?
minus on
5?
that example. Okay. Now it changes depending on the PT chart.
Right, but on that example, what was your
On that example, it was
Swing.
plus or minus 3.2 degrees, or
let me
Right.
ask that in a better way. What is your min max swing on subcool?
well, that depends on the equipment manufacturer now, doesn't it?
No, I know. I'm saying on your example. do
Oh,
you remember what
five and a half degrees.
Right. Now how many
Oh, I
pieces
thought
of
it was
equipment
15.
How many
No.
pieces of equipment allow 5.5 of a subcooling swing?
So there was a 15-degree range distance
Okay.
between those two.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm working on
But-
the iPhone tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like,
But
it's like that
so
big.
it was a plus or minus 5.5 degree 5.5 degree deviation in subcooling was the accuracy difference there. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is outside the bounds of any equipment manufacturer I've worked on.
Yeah, Train is 3% higher low. Carrier ICP, I think it's the same.
The answer there, Brett, is the deviation decreases.
We gotta
But
have him back on the show.
it only
I had a blast when he was on.
You know, it decreases some, and you have to run the calculations for whatever you're working on, whatever you're using at that point in time. Is that accuracy enough? And
Yep.
has that accuracy been reduced by handling of the gauges? Have those gauges been handled well? Have they been taken care of? Have they been stored in a low vibration environment? Because they're still board and tube gauges, right? And that affects the accuracy of them.
Yeah. That's good stuff, Eric.
And here's what I'm going to tell you. They will understand it as long as it is taught to them. And that's my opinion. I learned on analog gauges. I quickly transitioned to digital. If I try to look at a set of analog gauges today, I don't hardly understand them. I have to go back and really think about what I'm doing to even use a set of analog gauges, because yes, I rely on that digital gauge to do those calculations for me because it's faster. I can immediately get a saturation temperature. And you know what? Everybody looks at me and says, well, what happens if the batteries die? What happens if the batteries die in the remote on your TV right now?
So, Brett, I was just curious. I read that differently. I just don't like new technicians, period.
Well, okay. He did put that in there. You're absolutely right.
What?
He doesn't like new
I
techniques.
I got one analog gauge with a little stubby. If I get real lazy.
But you know what?
There you go.
You
I
might
don't
as
care
well be a
what
can
you
cold
use.
it.
I don't
It's a
care.
crotch.
Here's the thing, Brett. I don't care what you talk about. I don't care what you use. You know what? That's your business. That's everybody's. And by your, I mean, that's everybody's business out there that's doing this work. All I'm doing with this is I'm showing what the reality of the tools is that we use on a daily basis, right? It's up to everybody out there to make their decisions. You know, I've got a set of slides in here on digital gauges with the 0.5% accuracy sensors and a different temperature sensor that's got better accuracy. And it narrows that band down a lot. My point is that the tools that we're putting out there right now and that a lot of people are starting to use are outside of the manufacturer's accuracy specs on the nameplate.
Wow.
Because most nameplates that I've seen want plus or minus 2 degrees on subcooling. And we're picking up stuff and that every day that's, 4 or 5 degrees plus or minus accuracy. So to me, the manufacturers, and when I first gave this presentation, like Chris was there was some manufacturers,
You can say the name.
There was some manufacturer support personnel or distributor support personnel.
They did not like Eric.
They looked at that and went,
oh yeah.
What? Because I asked him, I said, hey, is this within the spec? Are these tools within the spec of your equipment that you're selling every day?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where Mike just went. He disappeared. He's gone.
Edgemoke. You can't trust him. Good for nothing.
I think I hear him, but I don't see him.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that to me is it's a challenge in the industry that we all deal with every day. And the manufacturers really have to deal with it the most, because who's to say whether this stuff is even getting done right or not? And that's, to me, that just hurts the customers, which in the end resulted, they're the ones paying for the work being done, and they think they're paying to have a really good job done.
Word.
And
Oh,
in
solid.
some cases they may be, and in some cases they may not. There he is. He's back.
Boom.
Sorry, my brother called me.
Oh yeah.
Mia, come on, close the door, honey. Oh, fumble. Come on. Sorry, guys. These kids are in and out like crazy. They're having a blast over here.
So what do you got?
So yeah,
Did Eric
now,
say what tool manufacturer not to use or which one to use?
No, we ain't going there. We're just saying, look at the specs.
you got to understand the specs. There's so many manufacturers out there. You got to look at the specs on the tool. More to the point, you got to understand the specs on the tools.
Okay.
Number one. And now you got to understand the specs on the equipment that you're working on. And then you have to connect the two.
Right. You saying like read the manual or something like that?
Read that fantastic manual.
RTFM. Yeah, even the booklet. You get a read the fantastic booklet.
There you go. RTFB.
RTFB. Maybe we can
gonna throw this out there. If anybody's watching and you want us to dig deep or dive deep into something for 2024, put it in the chat.
Yeah.
And we'll do the research and we'll bring it to the show.
Or call one of us, email one of us.
Yep.
Like we got.
If you're like, man, that's heavy. I just don't have the time to dig through it, and I really want to hear more on that topic. Throw us the topic and give us a little time to research it, and we will and we'll bring it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, if 2024, you want to hear it, we're open to doing the research. Except Mike, I think we just lost him on that one.
He's gone again. Well, I was going to have you ask him, like, what was his biggest moment of 2020?
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he's back again.
Mike.
My brother, he called me again.
Dude, tell that Jamoke to cool it out. We got a show to run.
Golly.
Bro, Mike, what was your takeaway for 2023?
Takeaway for 2023.
What was your aha moment?
I think I got to start doing a little bit more, like when I'm talking to my homeowners, I do a little bit more upfront. Not that I don't do enough as it is, but for me, I think I'm going to do a little bit more upfront when I do system sales.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean by more up? Like more like
on the paperwork.
Oh yeah, you're gonna try to lawyer up a little bit, make more like, hey, this is what we should do.
This is what we talked about.
You don't want it? Turn it down.
Yeah, a little less chuck in the truck,
Now we know what keeps happening to Mike.
Yeah,
kids shutting off the lights.
Yeah, I got to do a little bit more upfront work, which I do verbally, but I got to do more on the paperwork.
Yeah, make them sign off on it.
Yeah, like I also want to put it on there too, because then we can discuss more. I want to do more duct leakage testing on initials. So when I quote somebody a new system, I want to do duct leakage, and at least it'll come up sometime. Because I'm usually 50% of the time I'm doing a blower door, so I'm not talking it up as much. I should at least.
Mike, let me throw something at you. Let me something I've been thinking about for quite a while, and you have a TrueFlow, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I honestly haven't dibble-dabbled been playing with this, but I'm just going to throw this out there because I'm thinking, like, I hear lots of people say, oh man, pulling up the duct leakage tool, that's worst case scenario. I'm not going straight into that. And I get it. It's work. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to get paid for. So I've been thinking about this idea. Are you ready?
Yeah, man.
You just said I'm running a blower door pretty much anyway. I'm doing that. Okay. So let me make sure I get my story straight. I've been drinking, but
It
What
does.
if-
It slows down the brain a little bit,
What if we could take a true flow that you already have,
right?
flip it around in the return, and use it as like a
Bro,
screening for duct
Are you
leakage?
serious? Run
Yeah,
the
I'm
blower
serious.
door and put the true flow in the ductwork and measure airflow? You're insane. Why
Think
did I
about
think
it.
about this already?
Think about it.
Damn
So-
it, that's a good
so
idea. I can
our-
measure flow coming out
Well-
of the return.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. There's limitations, right? We have a cutoff limit in the app at about 250 CFM. So your
Uh-huh.
duct leakage would have to be aggressive for us to measure it.
Oh, that's no
um,
problem down here in Florida.
Now, that's not saying we wouldn't.
That's no problem whatsoever.
So think about this,
No
though.
problem.
You could absolutely fake the tool out, and what I mean by that is you could go to just the airflow only workflow
Okay.
and just hit the capture button twice. That basically takes the correction factor out of play because the measurement is the measurement, boom to boom, back to back, right?
Right.
And then whatever the flow is will be the flow. There'll be no correction, and so
So-
that'll be the flow through the grid. And so you
Right.
could
So
put it
I
in the
don't
return,
need
flip it backwards.
an initial static. I don't need an initial static.
Your room would be the static. Your blower door created the static for you. Your room is the supply plenum pressure.
You
Right?
just confused everybody
Oh
on this
my
show.
God, dude, that's so heavy. I'm gonna be
It's not,
thinking
though.
about this.
It's really
the ball,
not.
The ball's gonna drop, and I'm gonna be like,
It's really not.
pressure from the blower door. What was he talking about?
Now you'd still have to seal off your grills though,
Okay.
because
Yeah,
you
you're
don't
right.
because your blower door is going to pull from your grills.
Well, I got
If you
the
don't
vent,
seal 'em off.
the vent cap system. Is
So
go up
think about it.
quick.
This is a duct leakage to outside only screening,
Ooh,
but
those are
that's
the
what
ones I
you're
like.
really looking for,
Dude, duct
right?
leakage outside is king. Yeah, really.
right?
So what do you
Damn.
do? What do you do if you don't have central return?
Let me think about it.
If you
Yeah.
got
We're
a
spitballing here.
if you got a filter
Hang
at
on.
the unit and multiple returns.
Hang on. Good. You got it.
That's crazy, dude.
I haven't thought about it because I live in Central Maine return land, so I just think
Central
about me.
return line.
Yeah, the rest of us don't have central returns in like
Well-
95%
Well-
of our system.
Well, then you could do the duct leakage test with the whole machine.
Well, you could hook up the duct blast or the true flow. You could make a contraption to hook it up in front of the furnace door and take the door off and let that be like the filter rack and do something like that. But I don't know if that's worth it being you know what I'm saying? The true flow pops in. If
at
you
that
have
point,
to, if you have
at that point, you might as well just set up a duct.
correct. Yeah,
you-
you might as well just do it at that
But
point.
here's the thing: like if you're going to all that trouble to mask off all the registers anyhow, why not
But
just
then-
set up a duct tester?
Because the pain in the ass part, I think, is setting up the whole duct blaster to everything, right? The masking off the grills is, in my opinion,
Especially-
that's not the big headache,
Especially if you've got the vent cap system. They go up pretty quick.
right? I would agree with that. Yeah,
That's what I got. I love those.
yeah. You could pop them on, and
Especially if they're like floor returns, man. I wish I had some floor returns, man.
Yeah.
Golly. Everything's 10 foot in the ceiling and
You don't want floor
You don't
returns.
want floor
They-
returns.
They stink for conditioning stuff.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
But anyway, I don't know. I haven't
Dude,
really
that's
played around with
crazy.
that yet, but I think there's some possibility there for a quick screening, a down and dirty,
Dude, you dropped that on me live. You could have dropped that in the comments, like secret set.
I got no
chat.
I got no secrets, my friend. No
Golly.
secrets.
You dropped that on me live, man. My brain like almost imploded. Throwing a true flow grid in there while you're doing the blower door.
Backwards.
Unreal.
Got to throw it
Oh.
in backwards.
Backwards. That's right, because you got to get the
Yep.
manometer cup on that side. Yeah.
Yep. And you could
Hey,
just
can
leave.
you
You could
guys
just
close
leave
the
the
door? Close it.
Yeah,
Unbelievable. That's cool, man.
that would be cool. Now, as I'm thinking this out in my brain, you'd probably want to run a reference hose outside if you did it, because your reference would be in the room with the
Right.
input. So your reference would want to go outside.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. That wouldn't be
Okay.
hard though.
Dude,
That
you
wouldn't be hard to
you
do.
gotta get on top of that.
I know. I need to play with that. That might
we
have
gotta-
that might have some weight to it.
Yeah, yeah. And then
2024, baby.
oh dude, that's crazy.
Might do it
man.
tomorrow.
Yeah, I might do that tomorrow at the house.
Me too.
And I know
I'm off.
I know what
Screw it.
duct leakage I got.
Yeah.
I know what duct
You know what? I
leakage
may do it.
And
I
I
may.
gotta I'll do my 10th blower door on the house.
Yeah, just think if, man, this, yeah, you know what? More and more I think about it, there could be something here. We should work on this.
That's pretty crazy. Get the vent caps out.
But I wouldn't
Yeah.
say, I don't think Steve would ever allow it to take place of like leakage testing, but a screening, because the TrueFlow doesn't have a fan in front of it, right? And that's
Okay.
part of the magic when you start talking about like a blower door or a duct blaster. Like the magic is the sensors there, the fans pulling air across the sensor.
Right.
There's some science into that. TrueFlow doesn't have a fan, right? It's just it's static, and you're relying on another fan to push it. That's why we have a flow limitation to it, rather than a duct blaster like reading down to say 10 CFM, and the TrueFlow is capped out at 250.
Right.
But if it's a screening, you know what I'm saying? It's just a screening.
Right.
You just want to know if you got a big ass problem or you don't.
It sounds like an unauthorized use to me.
That's what I'm thinking.
Chris is probably going to get a call to the Chris is going to
Yeah.
get a call by the boss tomorrow going, "What were you talking about last night?
That's right.
Wait, you were drinking what?
Yeah.
And how much?"
Nah, man, it's cool. It's water cooler talk. You know what I'm saying? It may help somebody one day. Shit. I don't
Yeah,
know.
absolutely, man.
They
I guess-
have a lot of those kind of ideas out there, bro. To be honest with you, as I look through our like old manuals, dude, they weren't scared to throw down some crap like this. I'll
It's
dig it up.
crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy, man. I made this comment in the grapevine a while ago, but I was like so upset when I read Mad Air. I was like,
Oh.
because I was
Hold on.
like, oh, did I lose you?
So, Brett, you would not have to necessarily, if you blank off, if the kitchen duct would be, if it's open during the blower door on both, like, it's not part. So like DLTO, duct leakage outside, your TrueFlow would be measuring any leakage on the duct system that's outside the envelope. So if the kitchen hood would be a parallel path to the blower door, so you wouldn't have to really worry about it because you're not relying on the blower door number.
Yeah, it'd be a parallel path to the TrueFlow grid, is what it would be.
Well,
In those other
it would bypass the
ducts.
TrueFlow altogether.
Yeah, you'd only be measuring the amount of air that comes through that TrueFlow grid from the house duct system.
Yeah.
Now, if you have an outside air duct coming into the duct system, then you would want to block that off because that's considered, yeah,
What the frick is that?
that's Apple.
What the?
That's
frick?
awesome.
That's
I'm
Apple.
giving a thumbs up to one of the kids, and then all of a sudden I see fireworks going off.
That's Apple. That's Apple reactions.
Unbelievable.
Yesteryear versus today's newer options.
Ooh, we got two
Mm.
Kaisers in here.
Yeah, it's frightening, isn't it?
We do. We need to get into more trade organizations. Like, here's what I'm saying. All those people we talked about on that list or those organizations, we're recruiting. All right, 2024, we're going guest hunting.
Let's do it.
That's the plan.
Let's do it.
We're going shopping. Who do
I
we
want-
need to get on this show?
We need to get Waffles on because Waffles knows all the trade secrets. I want to know all the dirt on Jim Bergman.
Yep.
Yeah, the problem is, do you speak Waffles language?
That's the problem, Eric. I'm gonna
He-
leave that up to you. because
don't
you're the
speak
technical
ours.
guy on this
I've-
podcast.
Oh,
I've tried. Waffles speaks ball.
Well,
You know it'd
throw
be
a
a
ball,
fun-
he brings it
We're gonna
back.
throw a machine on his head.
all right. Question. Let's ask ourselves this. Eric, if you could get one person in our trade on the show, who would it be? Who would be like, man, I'd kill to have that person on the show just one time? This one goes to you, Michael. Same.
Dan Holohan.
Yeah, that's solid.
But I don't
That's
think
solid.
I think he's retired now, so technically he's out of the trade now.
Yeah,
From who
I
again,
actually just started reading his book last week. I'm about 2 chapters in. I haven't got really into the meat and potatoes of it yet, so I don't have much to talk about. He's just kind of breaking the ice through chapter 1, and I'm in chapter 2. But he tells a story about how it's a pretty good first chapter because he talks about like he worked for equipment manufacturer. I'm assuming he wasn't in the trade beforehand. He went straight to manufacturer, and he just thought he was badass, right?
Now,
He had been
now.
that,
Let me
I'm
say
talking
that
about that book.
this is the book Chris is talking about.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
first chapter,
All right.
I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm just going to throw it out there.
Dan has a bunch of books. This is not his only book.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
That's a
But
teaching book that he put out for instructors.
It's a fun first chapter because he lays it all out there. Like he humbles himself greatly in chapter. And he basically says like he thought he was badass. Like he had sent out all these flyers saying, "Hey, I'm going to do a class, and he talked his boss into it, this whole thing. Everybody shows up and he says, he had them all day, like 6 to 8 hours. And I know this feeling because I've kind of experienced it a little bit, but he's like, I just go to town and I start talking because I had been riding with a few techs and I have learned a few things. He goes, and I had gotten through all of my material. And then I looked at the clock and it was 9:30 in the morning. And he said, "Oh shit, what am I going to do for the next 6 hours?" And he's like, all I was doing was praying and hoping that somebody asked a question that I could answer and we could dive deep into. And he's like,
Right?
and it didn't happen.
Oh, man.
And then he said there was like a guy in the room that was just like super, super awesome, But he literally came up there and he was like, "Hey Dan, why don't you take a seat in the back and pay attention?" He goes, "I'm gonna give these guys what they came and wanted to pay for." And like this guy took over the class for the rest of the day. And he was like super awesome and basically taught the class. It was really good. And he said that was probably his most humbling moment that he ever had in his trade. And like for the rest of his career, that stuck with him. And he was like, "I'll never, ever teach and not be fully prepared again." So anyway,
awesome.
that's a good drop into that book.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
And Dan, I've gotten to see Dan, I think twice.
I've seen him once.
Still teaching, and he was just a phenomenal instructor.
Yeah. Yeah, he was good. All right, Michael, how about you? Who do you want on the show for 2024? Who's it going to be?
I would say one of the oars.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Nathan or Brian, man.
Oh, that'd be that's big talk, man.
That's we hit Bergman status, so
Nathan with a shirt or without a shirt?
I don't know, man. It's I would say whatever's comfortable for him,
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting, man. He's a trip, dude.
Mike Rowe.
Who we got? Mike Rowe.
Wow, that's a big ask right there.
I would say let's go with Joe Rogan then. If we can get Mike Rowe.
Man.
We get Elon Musk on talking about his new heat pump in his cars. But no, we'll stick with one of the oars.
That's a good one. I think you took the cake with that one.
That'd be cool, man. I like the show when Brian had his brother on. It was like a whole different take on usually what they show. What's going on, bud?
Maybe we could get both of them on at the same time.
Yeah.
You never know.
That would be a really good show.
You never know.
Ooh, there's an interesting one.
I'm gonna take a stab at this, but I've got two answers.
I got like 5 minutes.
I've got one answer for someone who's not in the trade, and I'm just going to tell y'all right now. I've already asked him to come on the show, and I never got a response. But like Neil Tyson deGrasse is someone that I randomly will like listen to his content, and I sent him a message probably like 6 months ago, just like trying to get him to come to the Grapevine show, which I know that was like a shot in the dark, but what the hell?
I
threw it out there.
I don't think we have the budget for that. I mean, Johnny pretty much breaks our bank, and I don't know if we got the budget for Neil Tyson deGrasse.
You never know if you don't ask. If you don't ask,
you never know, bro. That's right. We did it. We asked.
That's
all right. So my in trade person.
Yeah, who
Okay.
you got?
I'll tell you who I want to get on the show. And I think we could do it. But I'll tell you somebody who has I haven't even talked to this person, but through doing things with work, I learned how intelligent this person was through research that I had to do for a project for TEC. And I didn't know that a lot of this research came from this guy. And when I found out, I was like, damn, like this dude is badass. And that is John Simmelhack.
Oh, dude.
Yep.
I had no idea he was such
Dude.
a baller, dude. Until that.
I
podcast
want to
with
get
Brian.
John on the show. I don't even know John, but I know John is
John's like
smart.
he's like the GOAT, bro.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you. I know why Neil's over there hanging out with him. 'Cause
Right?
when I was
That's
doing
what
some
I said.
research, you know what? I can't talk about it. But anyway,
Dude,
I was doing
it's
research,
crazy.
and I know some spreadsheet work that sifted its way to me from John's hands, and I was kind of like, John built this. I was like, damn, it was
Bro,
impressive.
I watched that live stream. It was Brian Orr, Semmelhack, Corbett Lunsford. Who else was on it? Adam Overtime. And I was like, holy smoke, I forgot John is like the GOAT. You know, it's like that guy was chucking out like everything. Building science and load calc information. No wonder why Comparetto is hanging out, with the squad.
That brings up a good point. We should maybe get Neil on here at some point too.
We do need to get Neil and John. I think would be a stellar show.
That'd be a good.
I talked to Neil randomly.
If Neil texts me back on Facebook, I'm happy. I'll get him on the show. That's like getting Elon Musk.
Dude, Neil's up there with like Johnny Supertech. You call Neil and Neil's like, he's like, yeah, it sounds. He'll carry on the conversation. And he's like, I gotta go, bro. And I'm like, totally understand. Dude's like, I'm on a mission.
Yeah, bro. It's crazy, man. It's
all right. I'm taking that down as an action item. I'm going after Neil and John.
Let's do it.
I got a list. I got a list going on here on our spreadsheet.
Nice.
Already in there.
All right. And who's Larry Weingarten?
So I'm looking for his book. Rachel and I met him at Building Science Summer Camp.
Now, do we have a spreadsheet for the names, Eric, or is it a dream board?
Whatever you want to call it.
I like to call it the dream.
All right,
board.
dream board.
Get the oars on there.
Yeah.
What do they call it? The focus board. You got to put things on the wall and speak them into existence.
The word spatial's coming to mind, and I don't know why.
I'm gonna call it Michael's dream board.
Yeah. Come on, we gotta get the meanie on here too, man. One of the overtime. We need to get Alex
Meany on this show. How have we not had Alex Meany on this show?
The Russian bear.
Yeah. So,
or is it the Irish bear?
So Larry Weingarten, back to real quick to Larry. Rachel and I met him up at the Building Science Summer Camp, and Rachel started talking to him, and she introduced me to him. And he's written this book called The Philosopher's Wrench.
And
it's all
Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, the Philosopher's Wrench, not stone, wrench. Like a big ass pipe wrench to hit you in the head.
So I got a 2-inch pipe wrench. I got to bring it on the show next time.
He's a really cool dude that has done a lot with water heaters and water heating. He actually knows Dan Holohan, firsthand. Larry had a whole huge collection of old antique water heaters that he donated to the Mechanical Society of New York City or something like that.
Wait a minute. He had old water heaters?
He had a collection of antique water heaters.
I like this guy already. He's on my dream board.
Very cool dude. We got a copy of his, we bought a copy of his book. I don't think I have it here on my shelf. I think it's in the house.
I keep old thermostats like a crazy old lady. I get little Mercury thermostats. Yeah, I try to keep the old school. I wanted to do like an old thermostat wall in the house, like near my thermostat, surrounded by a bunch of old ones. But my wife was pissed; she wasn't having it.
Dude, I knew an old school painter that used to want to keep our thermostats with the mercury in them, and he told me this. I never witnessed it, but he said he would take the mercury out carefully.
Dude, that's what I just did that.
He would pour it in his paint and he would stir it in. And then when he would paint like an old historic house and they didn't want the
Right.
paint to peel, that's what he would paint the house with paint that had mercury in it because
That's-
apparently
that's
it
a-
doesn't make the paint peel. I ain't
That's-
looked into that, but I'm just saying that's what he did.
Now listen, to
All right,
keep us on on the still on YouTube, that's a horrible idea. But
There you go. So that's the Philosopher's Wrench
The
from
Philosopher's Wrench.
Larry Weingarten, and that is Larry right there.
That looks like a fun book to read.
He's a cool dude. I haven't read it yet. Rachel's got it inside.
Man, we
Yeah,
ought
it's
to
Saturday night.
start like a pass a book game. What do you call it when you just send books around?
A book
like
club,
like an Oprah book club.
Yeah, like a digital book club kind of thing.
an Oprah book club.
What?
Come on, you don't remember Oprah did a book club?
Oh yeah, she still does it. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah,
Well, guys,
she's sitting in Maui.
I think we're gonna have to close it out. I'm going to be called to go shoot fireworks.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. They want me to go do beer pong.
What are you
I gotta-
drinking, Mike?
I got a couch and a TV calling my name. You all have fun tonight.
Little
Yeah.
whiskey. It was good seeing you guys, man. Merry Christmas, belated, and
Yeah,
happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody out there for sure.
Pots
Woo!
and pans, do some fireworks. clap
Yeah,
your
buddy.
hands, whatever you got.
Don't forget, if there's something you want to learn and you want us to dig into it and bring
Drop
it
it.
for
Drop it.
2024, we
Drop it.
need to
Bring it.
hear it.
We'll see you, Jim.